Welcome to Conference Insider Procurement Edition, the show that gives you inside access to the procurement conferences shaping our industry, so you can discover and assess which ones are the best fit for your role and priorities. In a market where every event claims to be essential, clarity matters. Our goal is simple: to expand visibility, improve decision making, and raise the standard for how procurement professionals evaluate conferences. There are more conferences than ever. Time is limited. Budgets are tight, and it's often unclear what you will actually get from a conference before you attend. This show is designed to provide clear context so professionals like you can decide if a conference is worth the investment. I'm Ryan Bradford, and joining me is our amazing co-host and industry leader, Amanda Prochaska. Amanda, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me again, Ryan. I'm looking forward to this conversation today.
Today, we're going to take an inside look at Cabbage World by Green Cabbage, taking place in Scottsdale, Arizona, April 13th to 15th this year. It's the annual user conference for Green Cabbage. This event is positioned as where procurement leaders, disruptors, and innovators from around the globe gather to shape what's next. As they frame it, it's convening the brightest minds in procurement to shape the future of the industry. So let's get an insider's view of the conference. When I think of it, there's a couple questions that come to mind to me. Why does it matter right now? Who it's designed for, what attendees will learn, what's the experience and networking environment really like, what's new this year, and why is it relevant given today's procurement challenges? Amanda, when you look at conferences like this, what do you want to know before deciding if to attend?
So I ultimately want to know, especially when it comes to user conferences, is it users only? Is it users plus others? Is it going to be a lot of product demos versus insights? Like, I want to know, am I going to both learn about Green Cabbage, but am I going to also learn about the trends and what is coming our way as industry professionals? So that's really what I would like to know.
Let's introduce the conference and bring our guests onto the stage. Joining us from Green Cabbage, we have Alex Fochler, Head of Marketing, and Andrew Ozlowski, Chief Strategy Officer. Alex and Andrew, welcome, and great to have you both here. Alex, let's start with you. Where are you based, and what's your role with the conference?
Yeah, Ryan and Amanda, thanks so much for having us here. I'm based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where our Green Cabbage headquarters are. And my role within the conference is putting the entire conference on, getting everything together, getting our clients, partners, prospects from across the globe all to Scottsdale to have an awesome 3 days.
It's going to be beautiful down there. Scottsdale in April, it can't be any better.
I'm looking forward to it. Andrew, same question to you. Where are you based and what's your role with the conference?
So, hi, Ryan and Amanda. Thanks for having us. I'm based in the Indianapolis area, and my role at the conference is to make sure that all of our client attendees are getting value, are experiencing learning opportunities, are getting feedback from peers and networking. So my job is to kind of keep a pulse on how things are going and make sure that folks are getting the most value possible.
Why does this conference matter so much to procurement today?
Because everything is changing. Everything is evolving. While procurement and the procurement function has kind of remained the same. Procurement's job is to go out and buy things for the companies that they represent. But how we do that and how suppliers act and how negotiations play out, that's the stuff that's evolving. So getting information from people that are on the front lines and what we're seeing from supplier behavior, what we're seeing on impact of AI in the marketplace, all of those things, like the procurement industry, while in its core, we buy stuff, it's evolving very quickly. And coming to an event like Cabbage World helps you keep pace with what's happening in the market.
Who is this conference designed for?
Yeah, so Cabbage World is for all of our clients, our partners, and our prospects. It also is an invite-only conference, so this is a little bit different than some of the other ones out there, which is also another reason we actually don't charge for our conferences. We're not a conference company, so all of our partners, prospects, and clients all can attend at no cost besides their hotels and their air travel. But we really focus on the decision makers, so CPOs, CFOs, CEOs, all of the people who are really touching these deals and signing these deals. They might not be in the day-to-day of negotiating the contracts, but they're the ones who have to sign at the end of the day the contracts and really understand what's going on and save money.
Is it typically the higher level roles or roles with more experience that get the most value?
No, it's typically the executive level and above. So VPs, managing directors, executive level is what we have.
Yeah, I'll add a bit to that, Ryan. We want to make sure that we're giving the leaders of procurement the information they need to make their organizations more effective. One of the frequent questions I get asked across our customer base from leadership at the chief procurement officer level is, how do I make my team more strategic? And that's what an event like Cabbage World is meant to do. Show leadership how they can make their organizations more strategic and more effective. We're all about better outcomes. Like, that's Green Cabbage. Our core is, how do we help our clients get better outcomes? We get better outcomes by making sure that we do things the right way, that we're efficient, that we know how the other side plays. And those are the things that we cover at our events like Cabbage World.
It is kind of interesting, Alex and Andrew, as Andrew, you mentioned earlier, things are moving so quickly. I feel like the world shifted in a big way last year. And there are so many factors that go into leading a procurement team these days, between advancements in technology, what's going on in the world around us, supply chain disruptions, competitive nature of these contracts. So huge value there for CPOs and maybe their leadership teams, or even the people that they report to attend the conference.
Yeah, I agree. The world has shifted very quickly. But one of the other things that I get to enjoy that I do here at Green Cabbage is I lead a lot of our education and training and lead that practice. And I always like to tell clients when we take them through training, don't make it more complex than it needs to be. So, Amanda, the world has changed a lot over the last year, over the last few years. But the reality is, from a procurement organization, and I talk to them every day, there's really three primary goals that they focus on: getting good deals, getting good contracts, reducing risk, and doing their job efficiently. Don't slow down the business. Those are the types of things that we talk about with, how do I do that? How do I make sure that I get the right deals? How do I make sure that I get the right contracts? And how do I make sure that we do it efficiently and don't slow the business down? Those are the things that people learn when they engage with us and when our partners come in and talk to them at Cabbage World.
I love that. Good contracts, good deals, and efficiently. I jotted a note down on that. That's fantastic. What is the expected total attendance you're planning?
Our conference will have over 450 people this year, so double the amount that we had last year.
Is there a sector or industry focus of this conference?
There is not. We have presenters from all industries, clients from all industries. It's really just targeted broadly.
Ryan, I'm just going to add to that. Think about procurement. Everybody buys stuff, so it doesn't matter whether you're in, energy or you're in manufacturing. You need to buy things in order for you to be in business. So procurement is something that crosses industries. So it doesn't make sense for us to, be specific for a particular sector.
How many educational sessions are planned for the conference?
We have over 30 sessions that we're going to be having.
What about suppliers? How many of those will be exhibiting?
We'll have quite a few there.
Will suppliers be doing demos or presentations?
We'll have a lot of suppliers there doing some presentations all about enterprise buying, so intelligence, negotiation strategies, and then also a little bit about what's changing in their landscape. So these mega suppliers are always changing, like we had talked about earlier with the world and how things are adapting and pricing structures. They'll be covering all of that.
Yeah, and I'm going to add something to what Alex just said, because when you hear the word supplier in an event like ours, there's a much different feel than at what I'll call a traditional, user conference or something like that. Meaning there is no show floor where suppliers are going to have booths with demos set up. That's not the intention of this event. The suppliers that we invite, they're there to educate our audience with something of how that supplier is impacting the procurement world, or some of our service suppliers that are there, how they've actually done things within the customer base that provide value, so that everybody that presents is there to teach something, not to sell something. That's one of the key things for our conference is it's got to be educational. That's where the value comes from our attendees.
That seems like a clear distinction. I'm not going to get sold. I'm going to learn something by attending.
That's the goal.
What will attendees learn at this conference?
The whole idea of our conference this year is about data, deals, and disruption. So really innovating the procurement landscape. There's so many ways to approach negotiation. There's so many different levers to pull, and just really educating our attendees on what's happening, the disruption. How can you disrupt your contracts? How can you get the best contracts? Just bringing in different ideas and teaching your teams how to negotiate better, how to learn about AI, why liquidity is still good in consulting, and so many just different values.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? So it is a user conference, right? You mentioned users, prospects coming, some of your suppliers in your ecosystem that are going to help support the learning path of the attendees. It might be worthwhile for someone to understand what Green Cabbage does, so that we can understand what we're going to be learning about.
Amanda, that's an easy question to answer. I'm going to go back to something we talked a few minutes ago. What Green Cabbage does, we help our clients get better deal outcomes. Like, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Our clients need to go out and buy things across different spend cubes: technology, third-party labor, marketing, travel and expense, AI, and more to come. We help our clients get better deals in those categories. How do we do that? Alex touched on it. Better data. We see thousands of deal transactions across our network, so we know what a good deal is. We see thousands of contracts with terms and conditions, and actually have lawyers on our staff that have worked on the supplier side that have written the contract, so we know what good contract language looks like. And then folks like me and peers of mine, we've come from the supplier community. We know how the sales teams act and what they do, so we bring strategy and messaging to our clients, ultimately to get better deal outcomes. So when you ask, what does Green Cabbage do? That's what we do in a nutshell. We help our clients get better deals.
Okay, awesome. And one follow-up question to that as it pertains to the conference itself, and I opened with this question. I'm always curious when it comes to user conferences, how much of it is going to be Green Cabbage on stage presenting product, future roadmap, versus keynotes or other speakers who might be coming in to add that kind of learning path?
We've got a good mix, but I want to be very clear on something. When Green Cabbage is on stage, we're not kind of talking futures and this is where we're going and what we're talking about real world. What can I be doing? What do I, for example, Wes Schnell, our chief legal officer, will be running a session on how do I get a better contract? Like, what do I do? Not where are we going and what's the vision? It's the nuts and bolts. So we have a mix, a kind of a 50-50 of educational sessions that we're going to bring to the table, and or sessions from a supplier, or panels where our clients, leadership at our clients, are going to talk about what are they doing to make their organization better? What can attendees do today that sets them up for the next 1 year, 2 year, 3 years? So it's a mix of those things, Amanda, much more focused on how do I become better operationally than, vision and, the things that might happen 3 or 4 years from now.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
Building on that, is it A mix between strategic and tactical on content focused?
Yeah, we do try and have a mix of between strategic and tactical, because there are things that and Ryan, I got asked almost that exact same question a while back at an event that I was presenting at. And so, well, it's great that we talk about tactics, but I really need to be better strategically. And I kind of, it led us down a conversation to say, you know how you get better strategically? You be really good tactically. Like, know the nuts and bolts of what I need to do on a daily basis, because that helps my organization from a procurement perspective become more strategic. If you're not good at the basics of blocking and tackling, the things that you need to do on a deal, align your team early and, make sure that you're managing all your activity. If I'm not good at the tactics, I can't be good at the strategy level.
Alex, what is the networking and overall experience like at the conference?
Great question. So we have a lot going on this year. Our first day is really dedicated towards networking. So we're hosting a golf outing, which will be super exciting. We'll have 100 of our attendees playing in a no-cost golf outing, and that'll be in the afternoon. That evening as well, we'll have a networking event and social that'll be in a beautiful garden overlooking the entire resort. And then on Tuesday, we'll also have a large networking event that is on a terrace overlooking the resort once again. These events are really dedicated to people meeting each other. So the entire conference itself is about networking and learning from each other and seeing what others are struggling with. But these 4-hour networking events, people are able to sit down, have a drink, have a bite to eat, and catch up in a different way that is a little bit less structured.
Funny, I had networking written down as a note. Make sure that we talk about networking, because when we talk about education, we talk with our clients all the time. You can learn as much from your peers as you can from us or from other speakers. Getting real world input from others that have been there and done that. I always like to call it the phone a friend effect. Like, you come to an event like this and you should be adding to your Rolodex so that when you run into an issue, I can phone a friend and, hey, you told me at the conference that you had experienced this with this supplier. Can I, steal 5 minutes? And most people are more than happy to do that. So networking is a huge component of this event.
Some of my favorite conferences were user conferences because of what you just said. There's almost like this buzz in the hallways of people sharing experiences and feeling like they're not going through it on their own. Is kind of interesting. Like, they're learning from each other. They're sharing. There's a community that is built in the hallways, in the rooms, at those networking events. It's one of my favorite parts of user conferences.
That's one of my favorite parts within procurement. It sounds funny to say, is we're kind of all in this together. Our goal, everybody's goal, is to get better deals. And if I get a better deal, that doesn't hurt somebody else, even if it's a competitor of mine in the marketplace. So like, there's this atmosphere of sharing within procurement that helps us all, because we truly are all in this together. And we're all competing against strategic suppliers that are trying to drive revenue for their favor.
Is that the same sort of reaction or interaction that we can expect with solution providers?
Absolutely. Alex and I are clearly setting expectations with every partner, every solution provider, everybody that's involved in Cabbage World, is be there to meet people, share information that helps people in their job, and be open to additional conversations. Like, that's the expectation that we're setting with anybody who's going to present, talk, interact. Add value is a great way to think about it.
How would you describe the overall energy of the event?
The energy of the event is just all about innovation. So people are excited. People are coming to learn. It's going to be very fast paced. We have a great inspirational speaker to kick off the event and really set the stage of opening your mind to different opportunities, leadership, how to be disciplined. So it's going to be great.
You know what I've noticed, Ryan, just on this conversation with Alex and Andrew, that you can tell their excitement about the event. So I have a feeling it's going to be fairly high energy, a lot of learning, a lot of fun along the way. I mean, a golfing in Arizona and Scottsdale in the spring, that's going to be a lovely event.
What's new or distinct about the conference this year? I know this is your second year.
It's bigger and better. We have a lot more speakers this year, and the agenda is a bit more packed. So last year we did the same type of a flow of the 2.5 days of real content and then the networking events. This year we're packing in more sessions, more executive level speakers. We're bringing in even more suppliers this year. We heard a lot from our attendees last year. They got value, they got insights. So we wanted to do that again, just on a larger scale, since the event is double the size. And I will say, we're going big.
One of the biggest differences I think that people are going to see is the additional networking opportunities. You can always network an event like this and catch people in the halls, but Alex and the team have done a great job of having some front end loaded events like our golf outing, where people are going to be able to, spend some time in a social setting, and then in some of the events that we're doing. So there, and then as well as Alex alluded to it, a keynote speaker that we're bringing in, that I'll go back and also add to one of the things you said of, what's the feeling of the conference. I'm gonna say intense, because I think people are going to see the guest speaker that we have to do an opening keynote. There's going to be some intensity there.
We can release the inspirational speaker's name too.
Well, I think we can. So Mike Singletary, the former Chicago Bears middle linebacker and NFL head coach, he's going to be our guest speaker. And when I use the word intense, I think everybody, if you know Mike Singletary, can relate to that comment.
I just got goosebumps. That will be an awesome way to kick off the 2.5 days.
Why should someone consider attending this conference this year?
The baseline is it is no cost to attend. So it is invite only. The people who are attending are getting all of this value and getting to network with the suppliers, network with their peers, other people who are struggling in procurement and finance, and really understand the landscape of the market right now. So it's pretty invaluable to attend, especially when there's no money price on it.
Yeah, I'm going to add to what Alex just said, and I'm going to go back to something I mentioned to attendees last year. And this year we're bigger, better, more stuff included. The real reason why people should attend is they're going to be able to gather what I like to call nuggets of real world, things that they can put into practice in their real life, in their day job. So you come to an event like this to gather information, gather those nuggets to apply to the deals that you're going to work on back when you get back to the office. So why do you attend? To be better at your job, incrementally better, gather those nuggets and drive better outcomes.
Yeah, and you immediately can take that back. It's almost an immediate ROI, especially when there's no cost up front to be able to do it. It's more investment of time and travel. So it's invite only. So there are people that are probably listening today going, well, shoot, I didn't get an invite. What does that look like? So as we're coming around to year 3 of your annual conference, and someone didn't get an invite this year and they're curious to learn more, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of information on our website, and we have some links that we can share. You can also always request a no-cost pass. So it's not just our clients who can attend. We have a lot of outside people as well.
Okay, fantastic.
You've given our audience a lot to consider. Amanda, what stood out to you most from the conversation today?
I actually love a couple of things. I'm a huge fan of user conferences. Like I love when a user conference happens. It's a fantastic mix of learning and insights from your peers. And I feel like it's just a great way to level up your personal performance, but then your organization's performance by attending a conference like this. For Green Cabbage and Cabbage World, I love the focus of the disruption and the data coming together. I also love that you don't have AI anywhere in like your headlines. It's kind of refreshing at this moment in time because there's such a focus, but to be able to say, we have the data, now what do you do with it? How do you disrupt? How do you add value? I think is a huge win. So those are a couple of things that stood out for me.
Alex and Andrew, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate the insight, and we're looking forward to seeing you both at the conference.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you
and
very
Amanda.
much for having us.
Thank you.
Amanda, we just wrapped up a conversation with Green Cabbage, a fantastic discussion. We heard how they're positioning themselves with practitioners, the community, and the innovation, the networking, the event, the audience, who this conference is best suited for between leaders and executives, as well as mid to senior levels. We also heard that the outcomes that attendees can expect of a learning environment not being sold and relevant to the challenges that procurement practitioners are encompassing today. I'll steal the phrase, it's between community plus intelligence plus value creation is how they're positioning their event. It was a great discussion.
It was.
For Conference Insider, we work with conference teams to ensure an accurate information, but our goal is simple: to provide clear context so professionals can evaluate events objectively and decide if it's the right fit for your priorities. We want professionals to assess carefully, choose intentionally, and if this conference aligns with your priorities, we will post a link below where you can learn more. If this was helpful, follow Conference Insider as we work to raise the standard for how procurement professionals evaluate conferences, and share this with someone evaluating their conference calendar. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Conference Insider Procurement Edition.
Thanks, Ryan.